Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Dizzy, and yeah, here for another video. This one is a CP server, so another competition server, which I'm gonna maybe segment my competition server videos and put them in one thing, because there's a little bit more to it. Obviously, for formation lap and stuff, so it's a little bit different than a public lobby race of 20 minutes. It's a 30-minute race around Zandvoort. Which is interesting, and yeah, it's a pretty crazy race. Lots of close calls, but ultimately it's fun. So let's crack on with it. So, yeah, as you can see, we're sat currently sat just waiting to go. Off we go indeed. So yeah, this is a unique situation in a way because, you know, as the camera moves a little bit there in the recording of this, but I didn't know I was going to jump in this server, so I ended up just recording the replay instead. So it's a different kind of replay to the last CP server that we did. But yeah, just getting the tyres in the right window. It's tricky in the rain because it's a little bit different. Car did feel a little bit uneasy at first, and I wasn't sure if the setup had done the right thing. It just didn't feel quite right on the formation lap, but as we soon see, it probably seems to pay a bit of dividends. So yeah, not too bad. Here we go, getting ready to go on the start finish line. Just turning the engine up to full power. Just saved fuel at the beginning there, just to look after the fuel, and off we go. And straight to an outside shot just to get an idea of. I mean, it's pretty cool seeing all those cars in the rain, but there we go. We just make our way through, and it gets a little bit sketchy on the entry, but we're all good, and we all come through in a good position. And actually, I think, you know what, I've got a good position here, and I've got the top 3 guys in front of me. So I need to, if I want to do something here, I need to sort of start making moves maybe a bit early on. It's only a 30-minute race, and if anything, I actually prefer the wet sometimes because it is very much an equaler. And the people who really test the limits of the rain get away with quite a lot. So I'm one of those people. I'd say I definitely push the limits. So yeah, going into this section is going to cause many problems. It does for this Porsche on the first lap. Who tries to save it, does save it, but I mean, yeah, he's gone. And as you can see, the spray, even from, you know, we're probably 5-6 tenths back on the car in front, the spray is still hitting the window quite considerably. So the wipers are doing their job, but it's not insane right now. It's not doing the best job in the world. I mean, it's not impossible to see. Obviously, you can see where you're going, but yeah, in the dark, this would be so much harder. But yeah, just trying to keep up, and that Porsche obviously goes off, so we're trying to actually defend from him now. He's behind us, so we go to an outside shot, and you can see he's actually got a really good exit, such a good exit in fact that I'm having to consider some sort of defence. I think in the rain, I think he's going to try and send it somewhere, so I was like, I brake really late, and I just caused myself to just brake too late and just go too deep into the corner. I end up giving the position back. So tricky to spot that braking zone in the first, on the first approach with a heavy fuel tank, and just got it a little bit wrong. So we fold back into P4, and yeah, just gonna chase after this Porsche now and see where we end up. So a little bit later in now, and yeah, just trying to chase these guys. The Porsche has pulled away a little bit from me now, but he's actually chasing after the Audi. So I think, right, okay, if I can just maintain the gap I've got, if something happens, I'm right there and able to just grab that spot. But really clean racing from everybody at the front. especially in this weather. It's really, really difficult to be so clean in this weather. So mistakes are just more, they're just bound to happen a bit more, just because of the condition of the track. And just trying to work out that last corner as well with this car. Still not quite fathomed it yet, but I think a little bit of off power and then straight on the power as soon as the nose sits right is the best way to go forward. But it's a tricky one. So we're a little bit later into the race now, and I've gone a little bit further on. Porsche behind me now is starting to close up on me, and yeah, I'm starting to having to look a little bit in my rear view. He's not bothering me as such right now, but yeah, he's definitely pushing me, shall we say. And in the meantime, we actually gained P3 as well. So the Porsche that span on the first lap gained the position back. He actually went off a lap or so before this, but don't really see it. So count it on, but we're just on the rear view camera now, so you can see how much spray I'm actually giving off to the car behind. It actually gets a little bit muggy, especially for you guys watching this on YouTube. You'll probably have the bit rate will probably make that car almost invisible. So apologies for that, but yeah, so far so good, and sitting P3. So we think, do you know what, we've got the potential to carry it through, and hopefully just hold on to this position. I think that's the aim of the game with this particular one, and yeah, just trying to figure it out. So we're actually going to jump on board with the Porsche, and you just see the amount of spray I'm giving off to him. It's quite considerable. Don't sit on board with him for too long. Just don't want to give away any secrets that you may have. But we run a little bit deep into turn 1, but we straighten it up on the exit just to get a good exit, nice and stable exit as well, rather than pushing the tyres too much. And yeah, just trying our best. Obviously, the driver behind us, this Porsche, he's driver number 338, which is actually where you are in terms of competition service scores and stuff. When you get to like 900, everyone kind of sits at that, and that's like the maximum number. So I could be anywhere in that 900. But this guy is 338 or whatever, so that's quite a high number really. So he's done quite a few competition servers, and the intention really, especially with this video series, is to try and see how far we can climb up that really. But we run off, and we're off track. So that's the first time we've really struggled there with the car running so wide that we have to actually give the space up, and yeah, that kind of seals the deal really with not sitting on the podium, because for the rest of the race this guy in front just starts to pull away. I think he was probably just sitting and waiting for me to make a mistake, and sure enough I did, and there we go, we end up in that situation. So I will note as well that it was getting worse as well. So this weather, it looks the same I think throughout the whole race, but to me it was getting a little bit worse as we got through the race. Puddles started forming in places that weren't there originally, especially going through the sling sort of part of the track before the big right-hander. That little sling through there, you start to hit puddles, but the Porsche runs a little bit wide, but I follow him, so it's not really made a difference. He's yeah, pulling a good distance on me. Just puts himself in there and just get the groove out of there, and I'm just trying to mess with like traction control and stuff just to get a better exit out of there. Keep it in 6th and 7th for now, but yeah, at some point I move it to 5 because yeah, it needs a little bit more grab on the exit, but you'll soon discover what that does. See, it's kind of a bit of a lonely race from this point here at the moment. Not really a lot going on, and so we'll jump forward a little bit. So no pit stop in this race either, so we're actually just trying to survive, and yeah, we've got a guy behind us now. I believe that's Yannick, I think his name is. Running very familiar colours in the form of what I would consider Jardier colours, but yeah, we're just going to try and hold on to this position and try and keep him behind, which easier said than done, but yeah, something we're going to try and achieve at the very least. So yeah, just going through that first corner now, finding out we've found our groove by now at this point, and just kind of just slaloming through the circuit. It's a very twisty circuit, obviously, not a lot of straight line speed, so this is why the Porsche is quite good, but in these conditions I imagine that Porsche can be quite scary, so it's a little bit nicer to be driving the Aston. You can probably push the Aston every lap the same, like, and the same thing will happen, whereas I think with the Porsche sometimes you think you're driving the same, but you might just be slightly different and the car reacts totally different to weight transfer, so yeah, so that's the thing. But yeah, just holding on to P4 now, and that's the best we're going to probably try and achieve today, but the defense game is going to be crucial, with like 10 minutes left to go in the race. The defense here is just going to be crucial in keeping him behind, so we'll skip forward, and yeah, there's a bit of defense to come here. So we're on board with me now. He's got close now, he's starting to figure it out. I always seem to get a little bit wide and deep into that corner, but that helps with holding the inside line, so make sure that I slow him down plenty. He's just going to start to push me a little bit here. We've got a few laps left to go, as you can see on the replay counter, and now look how much spray there is for him behind, and he's trying so damned hard to stick with me. He runs on the grass on the exit, but the amount of spray is getting really quite intense, and yeah, he's having to back off a little bit. Just he knows that he's not going to be able to make the corner if he brakes late, especially with the lack of downforce that he's going to have. And yeah, I just managed to keep in front of him. Trying to overtake someone in the rain is hard. Trying to overtake someone in the rain around this track is pretty difficult as well. So yeah, credit for him to actually sit behind me for so long and do such a good job. But he gets a little bit loose coming out of turn 4, and we're just this swinging section. There is that puddle on the outside now that's starting to form. I could hear it with my front right. It was just starting to grab it ever so slightly. We're having to second guess, and yeah, back on board with me. Just trying to make the car nice and wide, and just be precise with my apexes. Make sure I'm the one that hits the apex every time. He loses a little bit on the exit there, where he's trying to make a difference, but he's trying so hard. But yeah, I just seem to be confident in getting a good exit out of this particular corner. And I think, as you'll see at some point, probably in the next lap or so, yeah, we really do a number on him on there and take off on him, and that kind of secures our position a little bit. So again, just coming through this twisty section, this is a lap later, and he's just sitting with us, and he's just there. He gets actually quite a good exit this time. I haven't really got an answer for his pace. We're kind of matching, but he's just a little bit faster than me, especially through here, but it's a little bit deep, that costs him. So I try and make sure that I get a really good exit to just try and grab as much time from that mistake as possible. Final couple of laps now as we come across, come around the final corner. Just make sure I get my lines right. He is catching though, as you can see, catching at a pretty extensive rate as well, and doesn't try and show his nose. He's not doing anything stupid. He's keeping it calm and collected. But yeah, he's closing in, and it does. There's a little bit of pressure here from someone, who was driving up the front and has more pace than me. When someone like this drives and qualifies better than you, then you got to think about it a little bit. So. Come through the little sling. Again, catching the puddle. Just trying to hold on as best we can now. We know that any mistake now is going to cost, well, quite a lot, really. And so we go on board, and it's from this point here that I think I felt that I had the pace then to actually say, okay, I'm going to keep you behind now. And this may have even been the last lap, so we're going to come through that corner. He gets such a bad exit, and I just absolutely take off. I gained at least a second there, and yeah, that kind of all his work was undone and then kind of redone when I go a little bit wide, but it is what it is, and yeah, just trying to hold on, trying to just survive now to the end. We've had this half an hour blast, and it's been me and him that have made our own mistakes. So as we get a little bit of an onboard view, a bit of a camera view that I don't really use. I mean, I don't use this for driving myself, but yeah. And he just tries on. This is the last lap now, so he's just at this point he's pretty desperate, and yeah, you can see the desperation in his driving a little bit. He's just trying to shorten every line up as much as possible, and he's going to get the backhand out a few times this lap, but it's making a big difference in terms of approach, because I mean, look at the gap. It's significantly reduced from half a lap ago, so he's definitely got some pace that he's switched on for this final lap, just to try and see if he can make any kind of inroads. He's starting to show his nose a little bit earlier, and he's going to show his nose again, just to try and put me off, and just to try and be in my mirrors. And it's quite an effective approach to things, but it's also annoying. But I do it as well, so it's one of those things that everybody does. But yeah, he's going to try and sort of catch me as we go into the final couple of corners, the final set of hairpins before the final 2 corners of the track. And he is there, but I just get a nice clean exit, and then a nice clean exit out of here, and he just maybe taps the gravel a little bit. I'm not sure, but we're just going to hold on, and we're going to come across the line, and we're going to finish in at P4. So finished in a pretty good spot, really. Quite happy with the finishing order, and yeah, all in all, quite a good race. Quite a successful one. So there'll be definitely some more CP races, guys. So yeah, if you like this video and you liked the racing, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.